2025 is going to be the year that AI really disrupts QA and software testing in some interesting ways. So here's some predictions. 2025 is going to be the year that software testing QA starts to go AI first, meaning you start with AI, regardless of what people think about how good AI is at software testing or how good they don't want it to be. Basic thing is it can do some basic testing and it's 10x faster and at least 100x less expensive than doing it manually by humans, whether that's generating test script code, or whether that's manually clicking and testing things or creating test cases. So the economics and the advantage of speed, even if the cost was the same, the advantage of speed will mean that AI just starts taking over large parts of software testing in 2020. 2025 will also bring a slowdown in hiring. Even if AI doesn't have an impact on software testing, or even as negative impact on testing, the management of software testing teams, and particularly engineering and CXOs, will anticipate the value of AI. So they'll slow down hiring in anticipation. So there's going to be a lot less hiring in the early half of 2025. 2025 is going to be the year where hybrid testers are succeeding. And they're the winners. So it's going to be the year for those folks. So people that are great testers and they add AI and figure out how to leverage AI to make their testing better, faster, and cheaper will be the winners by far. 2025 will also be the year that you start thinking about how to test AI. People are starting to think about that before. We have eval suites from the PhDs at the frontier model companies, but we're really gonna have to think about how to test AI systems because there's a lot of demos, but they're not in production today. And the reason they're not in production is because we can't rely on them because they haven't been fully tested. So there needs to be a lot of innovation in this space and there's a lot of pent up angst around testing of AI. So 2025 will see a big change in that. 2025 is also gonna be the year of code quality. AI generates a lot of code. It looks great in demos. Problem is that it has a lot of corner case problems and exception handling problems and so on. They're great demos today. In 2024, AI generated great demos. In 2025, new focused on the quality of that code because there's nothing worse than generating a bunch of code if you have to go in and test it all. So there'll be a lot of focus on that in 2025. 2025 will also be the year of the rise of autonomous testing. So this is where the AI just starts testing. No human needs to get involved, or so like AI just wakes up and starts testing the app. Looks at the application, the code, generates code, executes it, and does one or two interesting things. Either passes it off to a human to say good bot, bad robot, or it goes back and sends it right back to the AI that generated the code to try to fix it. So 2025 is gonna be pretty darn interesting in the automated testing world, particularly as these things are autonomous. So 2025 is going to be a year where we reimagine QA. Not just think, how do we take what we do today and how do we add AI to that to make it better and more efficient? And not also just from an AI perspective of how do we start with it. The conversation in mid-year will change to not just how are you adding AI, but how can you justify what you're doing now in light of AI? Like, why are we still doing what we did in 2024? So those conversations will be a little uncomfortable. Folks should get ready for it. 2025 will be the year of the agentic false start. Agents will be a great demoware in 2025, but we can't trust them because, even if they're 90% sure what they're clicking and why they're clicking it, that's just not reliable enough for test infrastructure. Test infrastructure has to be more reliable in the product that we're actually testing. There'll be troubles with agents just doing real work in the real world, but even if it does that, there's still another level of accuracy and reliability that these agent frameworks and computer-used frameworks will have to reach before it can be useful for test infrastructure. It'll look cool, people will try to use it, and then they'll find out it's not reliable enough for test infrastructure in 2020. In 2025, there'll be a quick wave of promotions. The testers that have adopted AI aggressively, I really strongly suggest you do that in January or February, but those folks will get promoted because they're going to lead the change in that test team, make it more efficient and make it better and more useful. The folks that don't adopt AI, reality or not, if they don't perceived as being AI first or, applying AI to software testing, those folks won't get promoted. And there may be other related problems of being not promoted. Careful out there and take advantage of it. This is a great opportunity. These shifts don't happen very often. 2025 will be the year of tool fatigue. In 2024, a lot of QA tool companies lost what's left of their dignity and trust with testers because of all the AI advertising. So a lot of claims about AI and people that got their hands on it and tried to use it, like it didn't work. Really, even a lot of demos didn't work very well, let alone in production. The reality on the ground is most people are not using these tools, no matter what Gartner and other folks say they're not using AI tools in production. So 2025 is going to be the year that they have to regain that trust, and I'm not sure that they can. 2025 will also introduce what I call testing services fatigue. So there's going to be a pressure on testing budgets in general, even just because of the anticipation of the value from AI and efficiencies from AI. There'll be cutbacks in testing budget, and the first thing to go will be testing services budget, because people won't want to lose their friends or their own job or their own management scope, because they like to have people working for them so they can be a manager. So there'll be a lot of pressure on testing services in the new year. And unless those testing services appear AI first or have some AI element to them, they're far more likely to be on the chopping block. There's a little advantage and opportunity here where the testing services, if they can say that they have AI in there and it's real, it adds real value, then they can be a very simple way to have the customer write a check and then get AI added to their testing strategy very quickly. But I'm not sure how many people will wake up to that in 2025. 2025 will also be the year of compliance and safety. So there's a lot of new rules, laws, regulations coming on board, and they're very different based on different regions of the world. But there'll be a whole new, basically a new role created in the testing world to ensure compliance and safety. So if you're really interested in diving into AI, and you don't want to code or be in charge of like test execution or all that stuff, this might be a good role to focus on, is to be the AI safety and compliance person on the team. You'll be very busy and you'll be very important, and your bugs will be fixed. 2025 is the year that you need to adopt AI, and the easiest way to do it is Checky.ai. Checky.ai has a bunch of AI testing agents that just help you test. It's different than manual testing. It's not as smart as a human tester yet. It's also not as deep in terms of workflows and user journeys as traditional automation. It's not as under direct control as if you coded it specifically with a bunch of Python or Java, but they provide a lot of coverage. They provide a lot of breadth of coverage, so you don't have to, and you can focus on the interesting stuff and bring your team a lot of extra coverage. So I've tried to make it as easy as possible. All the AI bots need to set up is a URL. They just need to be able to access your web page, and they can do a lot of testing, far more testing than most test teams can even do today. So you can get free test results if you just share your URL with the AI bots. And also you can schedule a demo, and you can get white glove handholding. You can ask for a demo. You can see AI actually working on your own website and delivering test results and performance and measurements. There's never been an easier time to add AI to your testing strategy, and I'm trying to make it as easy as possible so you can add AI to your software testing strategy in 2025. In 2025, security is going to be extremely important. It'll get more important than ever. Bad guys will have AI to generate attack vectors, and the good folks also have AI to try to thwart them. But that war and that race will only spiral out of control. Interesting field. And it's just going to grow in more importance thanks to AI in 2020. The good news is that a lot of basic security testing can be done with pretty simple AI testing agents now. If anything, I highly recommend folks look into that and add basic security testing before you're caught off guard. 2025 is going to be an interesting year. 2024 was a year of some skepticism transitioning to what I call AI curious, where people are playing with it, talking to ChatGPT and getting some test cases generated or a little bit of test data generated. 2025 is the year that teams need to deploy that into production. In 2025, it'll be expected. In the first half of 2025, there'll be a rolling wave of mandates from upper management that just say you have to have an AI strategy for your software testing. And then in the back half of 2025, there'll be this further review and we'll say, hey, so why are you still doing what you're doing? Like everything will need to be reviewed in the context of AI and say, why are we doing that manually? Why are we writing automated scripts for that? Why aren't we experimenting with AI in this area? So there'll be a defensive discussion around AI strategy and testing in the second half. Smartest thing to do is jump on the AI stuff as early as possible and be ahead of that curve rather than being on the back end and the bad end of that curve. 2025 is going to be disrupted a lot more by AI than 2024, and it'll be interesting.